And welcome to Ron Whitlock Reports, coming to you today from the beautiful Schlitterbahn Beach Resort, South Padre Island, Texas, USA. And we have with us on the program Sophia Benavides, Commissioner, Cameron County, Texas, USA Commissioner.
How are you?
Thank you for joining us on the telecast here today and on the webcast also. Sustainable building story. Well, we have it for you here. The worst fire in Texas history. The Bastrop County Complex fire cost 2 lives, $325 million in damage, over 1,691 homes destroyed, about 700 of those homes underinsured or not even insured. And one of the biggest disasters, Commissioner, was the fact that tons and tons, 5,900 acres of the lost loblolly pine were lost in many cases forever because they were just left sticks and sticking up, and they were going to have to be ground into mulch, except the fact that Jeff Henry and the Schlitterbahn family, the Henry family out of New Braunfels, South Padre Island, said, nope, we're going to take them, we're going to do something about it. And you and I have been watching and looked and seen all the things that they have done. These coasters made out of the loblolly pine, the lost pine trees that have been brought to life, given additional life, keeping the trees alive right here on South Padre Island. You've seen a lot of it. What do you think about this green corporate partner of Cameron County?
I think it's wonderful. Ron, I am very happy that Jeff and Gary were able to had the foresight to go in there and salvage this, and now it is part of the island, of Schlitterbahn. And I don't know if you have visited the rooms in the hotel, but you know, the walls, just the furniture, all sorts of
the smell of pine.
I know, it's
the smell of pine is just beautiful.
Beautiful. The
pine with no saw, no pine saw, just the pine. It's really great.
Exactly. Yes, we're really lucky. And you know, yesterday we had visitors from Bastrop and Bastrop County. And they told the story, and it was really moving. You know, one of the things that I told them was that, you know, I can certainly understand what it is to be in a situation where you have to be ready in a time of crisis. You know, I understand that a lot of citizens and a lot of public servants were there, and they pulled together. And now, through their efforts and hard work, you know, they're putting their community back together again. So that's wonderful.
But something beautiful and wonderful has been done with those pine trees. Exactly. Here's your comments last night and the comments from the people from Bastrop County here at the Schlitterbahn Beach Resort. Here's what they said last evening.
Schlitterbahn, thank you to your staff for thinking of having us tonight, but even more so for thinking about reclaiming a part of what we considered such a special and precious asset. I don't know how many of you have had the chance in your life to drive through what we call the Lost Pines in Bastrop County. They were the southernmost loblolly pines in the United States, and they were called lost because they were disconnected from any other pines like them anywhere in the country. So we had this beautiful area that had become kind of like the beaches to you. I think the pines were kind of the heartbeat of our county. On September the 4th, 2 years ago, in what was a most traumatic time, we lost 34,000 acres of that forest. We lost about 1,772, I think, houses. And we lost 2 lives. And as you mentioned, pets and lifetime mementos were nothing but ash because of the intensity of the fire. When you have your hurricanes, often the stuff moves over, and you can pick up your great-grandmother's picture, and it's wet and it's moldy, and you know you have to let it go. Our folks never had that chance. It was just gone. There was nothing left. So to see somebody as a corporate partner come and do what you have done for those trees of Bastrop County, to see them have another life, to see them reborn is really something that we are so grateful for.
Reinforcing what you and I are talking about, furniture, sidings on the headboards in the rooms, actually using these logs, saving them from mulch and making them into something beautiful. Now here on South Padre Island, the dining areas, the large tables made of loblolly pine. Jimmy Hawkinson, the manager here, took us along and took us on a tour. We'll let you and the audience at the same time watch the tour. He's telling us and showing us some of these things used with these logs from Bastrop County, 35 miles from the Texas capital. Here, Jimmy Hawkinson, manager of Schlitterbahn Beach, South Padre Island.
So one of the things we did in our restoration, this property here was an old Holiday Inn. Its life on the island had been about 35 years. It was destroyed in Hurricane Dolly. It was just a cement shell. We were able to take it from the cement shell and make some small modifications. All your trim boards, all of your baseboards, the table, the stumps, the different furnitures, they're all part of the loblolly pine. The cabinets were cabinets that were salvaged out of a project, but the faces were made new, and it's the loblolly pine as well. The headboards actually in this particular unit match the end cap boards. In all the other sleeping rooms, it is the loblolly pine, and the headboards are the loblolly pine as well. We took it here to just match the Spanish cedar that's on the end cap.
When plans were initially being discussed for building the resort here on the island, there was a very devastating fire in Bastrop. And we're going to ask some folks from Bastrop to talk about it. But I wanted to tell you about the remarkable thing that happened after that fire. All of us who were in the Hill Country area and in Austin and all around it remember the videos that were so profoundly devastating to see that entire community. And all of us just stood there with our hands over our hearts and our tears pouring down our face saying, how in the world, what can we do? This is incredible. I have friends who, for example, we all were taking horse trailers up there trying to rescue horses, many that were just cut loose. We have people who are headed up there, opening up their homes, saying, please come stay with us, come visit with us. There was a great outpouring of love. But there was also, someone saw a little something different. He saw a beautiful pine forest that was going to be gone and potentially forgotten. And Jeff Henry said, you know what? We need to find out if there's a plan for that wood. And through no small amount of red tape, and finagling with authorities and all that kind of stuff. Once the trees had been cut down, there was a decision made to say, let's try to save those logs from the chipper, which is where they were destined to be. Now, to understand why someone like Jeff Henry would think that way, you just have to look at these large poles, this one right here behind me, to understand why that would cross his mind. All of these ropes, the chandeliers, the paddles, those aren't things that we just kind of created in our workshop. Those are things that are recovered from things that other people would throw away. These are things that are from a shipyard that was recommissioned and brought out and used to wrap around these huge pillars. So where everyone saw devastation and loss, Jeff Henry and the Schlitterbahn family saw an opportunity to keep something alive from the Bastrop fires.
Out of all those things that you have experienced and seen, what one thing really caught your attention, your imagination, and you said, wow? Was it the headboards? Was it the big giant logs and the big parts of those that are in the lobby area when you come in, posted on either side before you go into the heated area? What one of those where you really said, wow?
You know, their tables are beautiful.
Gorgeous.
They are gorgeous. I've had occasion to sit at them, and they're just, you'll never be able to reproduce that, okay?
Yeah.
And for us, it's a treat to be able to come to a hotel and enjoy what was lost somewhere else and salvaged and brought here to our beautiful city of South Padre Island and to Schlitterbahn.
And we'll share more of it with you in a moment when we return here on Ron Whitlock Reports. Hi, and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Ron Whitlock, and we're here at Schlitterbahn Beach Resort and Water Park on South Padre Island, talking to the general manager, Jimmy Hawkins. And Jimmy, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ron.
Tell the audience, if you wouldn't mind, exactly why in the world the Henry family decided to take a gutted-out, hurricane-ravaged, totally destroyed hotel, the Holiday Inn, been in existence 35 years, operating profitably here on South Padre Island, and turned it into what you've turned it into. Why did that all happen?
I guess the proximity to the park is the first part of it. You know, if everybody knows, Schlitterbahn started off in the resort business in the very beginning. And so it was just a win-win situation. The mere fact that it was just right across the road, Schlitterbahn right here, outdoor park with the indoor park just across the road. It's only a tunnel right away, or a tunnel walk. There is a connecting part of it. It was sitting there for 3 years, and it was just a natural fit for the water park. It was a way to grow. We were able to add 9 new rides, and the accommodations of 221 hotel rooms right next door. And having that space for our guests to be able to stay with us overnight just makes it a win-win.
And goes back to the beginnings of the Henry family and its operations on the Comal and New Braunfels, Texas, because it really had a bunch of tourist courts, little cottages along the Comal, even before it got into the water park business.
That is correct. They started out in the resort business first, and I think with maybe competition coming in at times, they needed something to draw their resort guests to their resort. And back in the 70s, it was tube shoots in the Comal River, and just slowly grew into the big water park it is today.
So they cut their teeth on providing accommodations to predominantly families, coming, bringing their own food and beverage, that sort of stuff, and tubing down the Comal. And so now you have somewhat different, larger situation in your park, the other parks in Galveston, Kansas City, and soon to be Padre Island North.
Corpus, that is correct. Yes. No, I think once you get out of New Braunfels, because it is the uniqueness on the river, all of them have been created in their own little unique way. South Padre was the first part of Transportainment, which was a river system that flowed into all the rides, where you actually never have to get out of your tube to ride the rides. It was something that the Henry family came up with, and it's been introduced to all the parks as they build them, as will Corpus Christi will have.
Now, Jimmy, the audience has been watching and will continue to watch after this segment the fact that you've used the bastard pine, the lost pines that have given further life have been used in the construction of the old Holiday Inn here on South Padre Island, destroyed by the hurricane. In rehabbing a destroyed hotel, it was kind of like the green attitude that the Henry family has, going back to the founding couple who started it, Billy and Bob. Came out of the Depression, they felt things shouldn't necessarily always be thrown away automatically. You need to look at ways to refurbish it, and that's what you've done. And they're looking at the destroyed hotel at this particular moment. So when you took over the hotel and got authority, you bought it, you acquired it, you went in, and what did you have? Very little other than the structure.
It was just the cement structure, that was it. Everything else has been replaced. I mean, from all the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC, down to, you know, the beds, the sheets, the telephones, it has all been replaced. The only thing that was used was the cement shell. There were balconies. The balconies have been removed and the building is closed. It's a tighter sealed building. But it all goes back to, I think, the founders of this company is in the fact that they didn't throw anything away. They were able to recycle, reuse, and continue to make good with something.
And the fun part with Jeff Henry, son of the family of the couple who started Schlitterbahn Resort, and which segued into a water park in New Braunfels, he had to be here literally almost every day, hands-on, getting it all done. Amazing, isn't it?
He is very hands-on, yes. He is the creative mind that puts all this together, pretty much from the beginning to end.
We'll be back in a moment after these messages, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Ron Whitlock Reports, your host Ron Whitlock, and we're excited to have on the program here with us today Terry Adams, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Schlitterbahn Water Parks and Resorts.
Very well.
Terry, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And sitting next to her, we have happily here also the fact that she had been invited here to South Padre Island to see all kinds of wonderful things and came directly out of her county after a disaster. She is Clara Beckett, who is the County Commissioner, Precinct number 2 for Bastrop County, Texas, USA. Welcome to the program, Commissioner Beckett. I'm going to talk to you because you're from the furthest away, and your host here sitting next to you in the form of Terry from Schlitterbahn Water Parks and Resorts. You've got to be amazed to think that something that was as devastating for your county as it was, the fire from 2 years ago this particular month, has now been brought here to South Texas, and the trees have been kept alive.
It's a beautiful thing to witness. We were proud of the fact that nothing from the fires really, in any significant number, ended up in a landfill. Everything was recycled. But
And that's where they were going before Jeff Henry and the Henry family came along and said, please give it, we'll take
right.
it.
Well, there's recycling,
Yeah.
and then there's repurposing.
Right,
And
yeah.
this is a little different than recycling. It's
Wow.
good to see things not end up in a landfill and turned into mulch or fuel pellets or what have you.
Sure.
And recycled metal and things like that. But to turn really repurposed into a work of art really is pretty inspiring.
A la work of art right here. Schlitterbahn Beach Resort, South Padre Island. You can see even some of the scorch marks of the fire in this particular coaster. It is gorgeous, isn't it? Beautiful.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
We had this made for our friends in Bastrop County so that they could remember their trip here and what they got to see.
Now, Terry, as the Chief Operating Officer for Schlitterbahn Water Parks and Resorts, why'd you do this? You didn't have to take all these people from Bastrop County and bring them down and wine and dine them and cater them to them and do all the wonderful things. Why have you done this?
Well, because we were really blessed. Last year, the Texas Travel Industry Association went to Bastrop and did an event. And while we were there, we did our first service event, and we actually went into the forest and we picked seedlings and we planted them. And what the seedlings do is they grow into saplings. So Bastrop County is trying to reforest, and they've got lots of people and lots of folks doing that. And it was a great way. And during that event, it just came to me that there's this full circle of life going on. That they had a tragedy. We took we didn't do it to be able to tell this story. We did it because it was kind of the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And Jeff Henry, he does some kooky things sometimes. He has some fun ideas, and we call them funky. And this was one of those ideas that we were like, you're going to do what? You want us to go pick up a bunch of trees? And then what are we going to do with them? And what we did with them is build this beautiful resort and all the works of art. That's the right word to use. Tables and just the things that those wood carvers and the guys who work for us have done with all that wood. Even just turning it into the beautiful lumber and the pieces of furniture. So inviting the Bastrop people to celebrate our resort opening while they are recovering from their tragedy, you have to find something good in this bad. And we just wanted to show them, they didn't get to see it. And talking to them last year while we were in Bastrop, just to see their eyes go, you could see, that'd be really cool to see. So we wanted to invite them to come see what we had done.
The worst fire in Texas history, 35 miles from the Texas Capitol.
Yep, scary.
And just a horrible thing. 1,691 homes lost. Over 700 totally uninsured or underinsured, Commissioner.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple years. And for a community, there's about 75,000 people in the county. That's all 3 cities, county, everybody. And you think 1,700 homes and 2.5, 3 people per household. That really equated to about 7 or 8% of the population of the whole county. So, and that many people displaced for weeks and months, and kids can't. You have to continue to go to school. You have to reopen the schools, which were part of the shelters, and it was devastating to the community. But 2 years passed. We think we're at about a 60% rebuild, rate for folks rebuilding their homes, mostly on their lots that they had. A lot of people have bought homes that were existing. The rental market's pretty tight, which is good. And of course, reforestation efforts, continued cleanup. We're a long ways from where we were 2 years ago, but this kind of thing is certainly part of the healing process. And coming down and seeing some really good and beauty from the ashes is really inspiring.
Now, the whole episode called the Bastrop County Complex Fire started really by a tropical storm. We along the coast know what those things do, but in this particular case, Tropical Storm Lee came over Bastrop County, caused some power lines to fall on dry, parched, drought-prone Texas area, and started the fire, basically, and then joined forces with another fire that was already ongoing, and that's what made it so bad.
It was kind of the perfect storm. It was, like you said, Hurricane Lee, or Tropical Storm Lee, and we were hoping for a little rain out of it. We're kind of bad that way in Central Texas, you know, and with the South Texas folks, we're hoping for a little hurricane to get a little rain. You know, Central Texas is kind of periods of drought with hurricanes that come in droughts. Instead, we got 50-mile-an-hour winds out of the north, and it was brutal, and it traveled ridiculously fast, 16 miles in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And the fire literally made its own wind. I'm not a fire expert or emergency management coordinator, can tell you so much, but 30-40 miles south, people were finding chunks of bark in their pastures, and it was really a miracle that it was stopped basically at the Colorado River. If it didn't get into the bottom grasslands of the Colorado River, I'm not sure it would have stopped before it got to Victoria. Wow. It was a blaze, but we're really appreciative of people's inspiration and ideas, and coming up with this was quite unique. So
Yeah, it was.
thank you,
Thanks.
Schlitterbahn.
Thank you. It's been fun. It's been fun to share it. So thanks for being
Great
here.
to have a green, family-owned, operating company.
Absolutely.
We were green long before it was
Green was
popular.
cool.
Yeah, long before it was cool. The Schlitterbahn family, Mr. Henry, the dad, and his wife Billy, and Gary, Jeff, and Jana, they were green and made us be green long before green was popular. And I grew up in a household where we reused everything. We had to reuse our baggies. So.
Well, and I was just talking to someone earlier. The county just finished the process of putting together our tagline and some marketing strategies. We're trying to utilize some economic development funding and hotel occupancy tax.
Yep,
Thank you
we know
very
about
much.
that.
And our tagline for Bastrop County is "Enjoy our friendly nature." So I think it all kind of fits.
It does fit. We're enjoying your friendly nature. Thanks.
Thanks.
What you might consider as being the 101st community around the nation trying to get Schlitterbahn water parks to move and bring a water park.
Yeah, but we're situated pretty well between Austin and Houston.
Now's your
I think the
opportunity.
trip count's probably like 30,000 cars a day or something.
I don't know. They've been talking about it. You never know about
You never
Schlitterbahn.
know.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for appearing with us on the program. Thank you for joining us here on Ron Whitlock Reports. Also go to ronwhitlockreport.com if you want to watch this program 24/7, or link it to anyone worldwide if you want to hear more about the beautiful Schlitterbahn Resorts at Schlitterbahn Beach Water Park here on South Padre Island, Texas, USA. Till next time, adios.